Why, hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat. Today is Thursday. February 23rd, 2023. I've got a dolly. She wants to leave, but she's so pretty. She's such a cute girl. Yes, she's such a cute baby. She's got lots of energy right now, so off she goes to the side. You gonna run and play? Are you gonna run? Are you gonna run around? Chase your brother? Get chased by your brother? So, hi. It is in fact Thursday. We are here. We are going to be making Circuit 2s today in Factorio PyAE mods. And everything will be glorious. I do hope. So, what do I want to say before we begin? Reminder, tomorrow I will be streaming. I will be streaming Kerbal Space Program 2, since it releases before I would normally start streaming. That's pretty much the only reason. It just happens to work out that way. So tomorrow, at 9 a.m., I will purchase KSP2, because that's when it becomes available for purchase, and then I will start playing an hour later. I hope it works. I hope it's functional. That's all I can really say is I hope it functions. And we can stream it. That'll be great. For now, though, we have circuits to produce. We have things. Hello, Not Melon. Welcome to today's stream. Last time we met, I set up Cermit, as well as a few things. Also, I think my sounds are, like, dead. Yes, I think my in-game sounds are dead. I have to, like, change the audio device. Something happened with my audio device. There. Sounds exist again. There was it, like, glitched out. I don't know what happened. It just, didn't exist, I guess, for a second, and it came back immediately. But it's enough for the game to be like, hey, you don't have an audio device. Actually, there is nothing. There's nothing. Actually, yes, there is. I know that there is. So, I decided that we would build Circuit 2s over a couple of squares, across squares. And so, once we made Cermit last time, did I ever set up VatBrain? No, I have not. Because at this point, I have every technology that I can currently take. Therefore, setting up the VatBrains is pointless until I am ready to process another layer of science, another level of science. It is on the agenda as the last thing when I have access to the science, is when I will consider doing the VatBrain thing. And I will also note, I'm going to do the VatBrain thing, but I'm not going to reduce my plans on production. I very much want 1 chem science per second, and, you know, the whole back-end chain to that as well. The, where is it? The 10, 6, 3, 2, 1. I want that production, and I want the productivity bonus from the VatBrain biocomputing at that level to be like, hey, a lot more. Worth a lot more. I want to chew through these texts as quickly as possible. And then, of course, once I have chewed through the texts, turn off the VatBrains. I have to remember, hey, no point feeding the VatBrains if it's not an operational system. If you're not needing that going. So hello, welcome to today's stream. I'm sure more folks than usual are going to be here today, considering that today is a rather big milestone day, in that we are going to get Circuit 2s, despite the fact that in the current state of PyAE mods, just getting into Circuit 2s doesn't really do much anymore. It doesn't really do much for you anymore. It does a few things. Don't get me wrong. I will have access to red splitters and therefore could transition into like full red belt systems, but it's not going to also give me all of the Mark II stuff until I have chem science. It gets me some, not all. It gets me novens. It gets me the ability to make the next thing on the list, which is the self-assembly monolayer material, or SAM, because Circuit 2s unlock novens. The ability to make the first novens, as well as the ability to build noven buildings, and that is a necessary component going into SAM, and I need SAM to get advanced locomotives, our tier 2 locomotives. What science do I have so far? I have automation, I have PyScience 1, I have logistics, I have PyScience 2. And that's it. That's it. That's all I have right now. I am on the path to chemical science. So we have our first 4 of many. There are more sciences in Pyandon's mods than vanilla, because it adds essentially an extra science in between vanilla science levels. So there is a PyScience 1, a PyScience 2, a PyScience 3, and a PyScience 4 for utility science. But there isn't one between utility and space. We do need mill science at some point. I could do it whenever. It's just I haven't done it yet. So, as I said last time, we made Cermet and worked on the big factory. This is technically stream 2 of working on the Circuit 2 factory. However, what we did last time for the Circuit 2 factory was a lot of the like extreme back-end basics and not really much like that's the direct ingredients that go into Circuit 2s. We haven't gotten quite that far yet. So, what else did I do between streams before we really get into this? I said that I would do the antimony processing up to the point that we had seen before. So basically up to here, this grade 4. And I have done this. I have done this thing. Basically last time, we set up lead acetate and we set up Dow froth with the ethylene glycol and all of that shenaniganery. Essentially, we got hydrogen, oxygen, boric acid, ammonia, formaldehyde, ethylene, chlorine, biomass, CO2, acetic acid, and then taking ethylene to make ethylene chlorohydrin into chloroethanol. We have pure sand with chloroethanol, slaked lime, water into ethylene glycol plus methanol, and chromium into Dow froth. And then from there, some acetic acid with hydrogen peroxide and lead into lead acetate. And that's going to lead us into what we have to do today. Because I set up lime, and I set up through the grade 4 antimony processing, just copy paste from my previous antimony processing build. Yeah. Besides this, let's see. You don't know how I can how I can play it. Yeah, there's a lot. It's just you have to take it one step at a time. It may be like infinity number of steps, but if you just do one step at a time, it's 37 when looking at the map with all my bots active. But yes, it is. Performance is lower. It is 100% my fault. I want to be clear at this moment in time that this level of performance is 100% my fault for building at this level of scale for this point in the game. You're not exactly intended to build at this level of scale at this point in the game. I am approximately 10 times greater scale across the board than intended. Yeah. I mean, okay, well, the train network is the train network no matter what. It's just that the individual factories, there's a lot of like really huge individual factories that I probably don't need that many of at this point in the game. I would suggest, if this is your first time playing, do not target 1 per second of any science at any point until the very end of the game. Target 0.1. Target 0.1. And don't target 1 circuit 2 per second. Target 0.1 circuit 2 per second. Or, in the alternative, target per minute. Target per minute rather than per second. Like 1 per minute rather than 1 per second, because I'm targeting 1 per second / multiple more per second of the previous sciences. So yeah. What did I do? I did something. I scaled rare earth oxide between streams. That is here. Yes, I went over here. I've tacked on additional buildings. I've done proper logistics to make sure that everything will operate fully at 15 per second of rare earth oxides. I upgraded this from 1 to 15. Someone beat pi on 0.03 per second. Yeah, if you wait enough time, if you wait long enough, you can absolutely beat it with like very trace amounts of sciences, and especially if you like use the vat brain stuff to add productivity to your labs, multiplying the value of the actual science production. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. This is like the 4th time I'm playing through Planetons mods, so I'm playing through it building much bigger scale than I've ever done. Correction, this will be the 4th time that I've beaten Planetons mods when I beat it. I would suggest CPU rather than GPU for Factorio. GPU is not really a limiting factor, like outside of sheer volume of VRAM. I mean, sure, like VRAM, you need VRAM as much as you can get on your graphics card, but also very much CPU bound on Factorio, not GPU. Single threaded performance CPU bound. That's the biggest thing. So yeah, I scaled rare earth, and I mined additional rare earth somewhere. I mined it here. I mined these 5 in here to get some more ores. Well, it's great that you can join today. I am going to immediately get in and continue building our Circuit 2 factory. I want my Circuit 2s. I need them. I need them. Dolly's finally calming down. She's finally calming down. I came down after I took my shower today, and Dolly came up next to me on the desk and was all lovey-dovey, wanting pets, pushing her face into my hand against my arm, wanting pets, rolling over, wanting pets all over. And then she sort of got a little bit overstimulated, and claws come out, teeth come out. She starts treating me like her brother, treating me like a kickstick with my arm, trying to go after me. It's like, okay, I guess we're done now. Like, you're still purring as if you want me to keep petting you, and yet you're also lashing out. Like, nah, we're done. And then she has to run around all over the place to get the energy out. We are here. We have arrived. Hello, stuff. So what we still need to do? What do we still need to do? We need to get into Antimony Pulp Stage 2. That's what we need here. I have zero intentions of actually making antimony oxide out of the pulp stage 2 until after I have chem science, essentially, and I can make like high grade silver. I am very much interested in upgrading my processes. I just happen to need high grade silver processing so that I can actually make ethylene glycol at scale. Do I recommend without alien life or even without high tech? Hey, Not Melon, have you words to say on this? Because I know last I checked, the entire Pi Suite was required to play the Pi Suite in the current state of things. But essentially what Not Melon has done is provide files for compatibility that should let you play it piecemeal. I actually have to quit out just to see the mods if the actual stuff has changed. Okay, we do have optionals now for alien life and coal processing and high tech, so yeah, since it is possible, you could play it without it, but then again, if you do play it without it, you're not playing the full Pi Suite. So there's that. I would say alien life is the biggest contributor to performance death in the game currently. High tech is fine. I don't have a problem with high tech. It's just I think that alien life is the biggest performance killer in the game. Now, of course, if you play without alien life, you also won't have access to perhaps the best vehicles in the game that exist. You won't have access to the crawdad. You won't have access to the crawdad. It is unbalanced. Well, I don't think that. Yeah. The idea of balance that has not been in their minds for the piecemeal setups like ever. So. Yeah, I would say K2 if you've never done a overhaul mod before, because K2 is like as close as you can get to like a vanilla plus, instead of like a extreme major overhaul. Followed by Bob's Angels. I haven't ever played Angels alone, and I have never played Bob's alone. I have always played Bob's Angels together. Because for the longest time, Angels needed Bob's to play it. And now, King Arthur was helping with that development, and it is standalone. I just haven't played it standalone ever. What about Nullius? I have to go back to it. The last time I played it, it was relatively early development. I would peg it as... due to the power priority system in it and some of the later game mechanics, I would peg it as a little bit more difficult than an Angel's Bob's. A little bit higher than Bob's Angels, but yeah, it's not that big of a difference. It's just got a different set of mechanics on it. Whereas Bob's and Angels are, generally speaking, extensions of vanilla mechanics for all intents and purposes. I mean, you're still mining an ore. It adds an ore processing. It adds additional fluids to process. It's not like fundamentally changing mechanics or adding additional mechanics in a Bob's Angels. Nullius fundamentally adds additional mechanics, changes power mechanics, adds to really power mechanics, and that folks haven't really had to mess with previously. So I would rank that as a little higher in complexity. Now I haven't really played too much of the space exploration or the IR, but I think space exploration above Nullius in complexity, followed by IR. I consider IR more than a space exploration. And of course, Pi is like leagues above. There's like a huge gap between whatever comes before Pi and Pi. It's like massive leap. Because Pi extends mechanics and adds a lot more mechanics that don't exist in the vanilla game. It just does all of the things. So, Antimony Pulp, Stage 2. Let's get going. What step was I on? Where am I going here? So I have done... I have to do this next. This is the ball mill step. I will need 13 of these ball mills, and they need to take 2 inputs. Whoops. Oh, goodness gracious, that performance. And it is only this low while streaming. Just as an FYI, this is streaming, the streaming penalty on my performance today and going forward. If I was not streaming, this would be significantly higher. Yeah, I'm going to have that on the inside lane. Note that I have an input here. I need to actually... I need to rethink this, I think. I need to not do this. I need to have it, like, here. That. I need this. Hey, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for following. I need this here because this is going to produce grade 4 on this classification step that's next. So we're about to get classy. Oh God, I can really tell the difference on the frame rate. It's like in the 50s without streaming. That's the difference. What do I need here? I can get away with anything, so we'll do this. All right, power. Once I get like Mark II stuff, that's when performance should begin to creep up again. I need to make red belts, clearly. I need to use the circuit 2s that I'm going to build now to make as much Mark II stuff as I possibly can, as well as red belts, and downscale. I need to downscale stuff. I need to get into chemical science to get access to better alien life recipes that will allow me to further downscale stuff. I need to go to my Kickalk and upgrade my Kickalk area to the better recipe that I currently have access to fully replace my Kickalk. I need to set up a Mark II Kickalk production line so that I can do that with Mark II Kickalk, which would have the size of the build. So there are things that I could do now that would help to reduce the total entity count without compromising my production rates. And I should do that so I can improve performance. But ultimately, the savior of performance is going to be Bob's modules. That will be the thing that will spare me so much pain at the later phases of the game. The problem is getting there. We sort of have to get to Bob's modules, and those unlock the moment we have access to circuit 2s. Not the good ones, just the level 1s. And level 2s, I forget. Productivity. We have level 1s. Level 1s, that's it. We do not have recipe for level 2s yet. Right, because that is a PyScience 3 recipe. Yeah. So about that. Right. We're not going to have access to pure modules, and we're not going to have access to beyond 2.3 or later modules until production science. That's just how the tech tree has worked out with this. We don't immediately get the ability to research all of these / make all of them. And the later ones require circuit 3s and intelligent units anyway. I think they require No, do they? Do they require Intel units? I don't think they do. They just require circuit 3s for these. Yeah, to get into the level 8 modules, it's C3s and C2s, but it's a lot of C3s and C2s since you're upgrading each level in sequence, and then it's like 5 to 10 plus at each level. Yeah, it's a lot of circuits. Lot of circuits. What is the throughput we're dealing with here? 1.28 total. All right, well, that's fine. So at the beginning, once I get my circuit 2s, I will have access to level 1 modules. Yay. Level 1 regular modules. Yay. I am absolutely going to make efficiency modules and put them onto all of my glassworks buildings and all of my smelters. They are getting efficiency level 1 modules. Even if it's just one, that's still a 20%, I think, reduction. That's still a, what is it? It is a 10%. It's a 10% reduction. Yes, there's a vicious critter hath appeared. The ferocious kitty has appeared behind my head. Yeah, baby. Ah, and she was ferocious today. Yeah, I am absolutely looking forward to spending 10% less gasoline across the board and syngas on certain locations. I've used both as fuel. And then Mark II buildings are going to add an additional module slot to all those buildings. And that'll have 20% reduction. Woo! And then at Pi Science 3, apparently, I will get access to level 2 modules. And that'll also be glorious. And a most definite improvement. And eventually we'll have level 8s, and that's going to make it so that I will pretty much perpetually be at minus 80% power draw on anything I want minus 80% power draw on. But in particular, anything consuming a fluid fuel and a solid fuel is going to get that, and then have its speed buffed into infinity. Yeah, it's definitely a thing, but it absolutely reduces entity counts in a mod set that needs as few entities as possible, because there's so many steps that you have to do, so many buildings you need just to do all the steps that you need. Anyway, I'm looking to pull out this antimony grade 4, I think is... Yep, the name to the right, going down, and in there. And that goes that way. We've done these autosave. There we go. Next, U. So I will need to import... I'll need to import fish oil. Bear in mind that it is possible for me to have these directly next to each other, but the game doesn't like that very much. I have to basically cheese it with nanobots to place pipes. It would not want me to add in fish oil onto the line for fish oil if I do that, because it would consider it like a mixed pipe. It considers it like the antimony pulp out pipe, even though they're not actually connected to each other. Just weird behavior. It does this at my vanadium. Speaking of the vanadium, I currently have an entire full buffer of vanadium now. The buffers have filled on the vanadium pentoxide, but yeah, I wanted to mention, I think it was here. Yeah, the pipes on the tailings and the acid gas, I had some trouble hooking up the tailings on here because these ports touch each other. Even though it's meaningless, it does not do anything. The fact that they touch each other like that, the game does not handle it well. Okay, how do nanobots work? Script. It's the best I can say, really. Don't know if I want to draw that particular line. Let's do that line. So, nanobots call events, or flags, or whatever term they actually use for this, that you would otherwise do to build a thing. Like, it pulls up the events to build a building, or to place a blueprint. Realistically, it's like placing a building like so, that is an event in the game. It simply calls that event for that particular entity. It like finds the entity, like does a search around you for the entity, a entity that it has a event for, and does the thing. It does the thing. Also, this needs to be up one. Whoops. And unfortunately, in some cases, it does not use a good event flag. Right, I need the lead acetate as well, so this does need to go this way. Oops. Yeah, I need you to go that way. So there was this issue that we had talked about a little while back. I say a little while back, it was fairly recently. An issue fairly recently with recipes that require modules and that the building itself requires that same module. So think these artificial reefs right in here. It's actually these. It's these reproductive complexes, this recipe right here. If I place that down, this building has a module request, or had a module request, but Nanobots did not put the modules into the module slots. It put them into the inventory of the building itself. Why? Because the specific event that Nanobots uses in this case is not the event that robots use when placing modules into a building. It is the event of you holding control and left clicking on the building. Which adds to the inventory and not the module slots, even though it's technically the exact same command to do both. If I don't have that recipe set, if I control and left click onto the building, it adds to the module slots. Yet if I have the recipe set, if I try to do the same thing, it adds it to the inventory. This is just the vanilla way that it does this. Should this do this in vanilla? No, it should not. There should be no overlap between the key bindings in this way. Like, they did not foresee this being a thing, yet it is a thing. I am using an infinite inventory mod. The mod is called Infinite Inventory. That, yeah, I do not regret in the slightest. I do not want to be constantly going back to my mall to grab things. I was losing too much time during streams to just having to keep going back to the mall to pick up things that couldn't fit in my inventory. And that does contribute to my performance issues, but whatever, it's fine. Anyway, lead acetate. I need that up now. So a person has already put in... Well, they put in a bug report on Factorio for the default behavior, but it was moved to suggestions forum rather than bug. I would still consider it a bug. I would say that it is unintended behavior. Or that, at the very least, their intentions violate basic game design. It violates UX rules by having the same command do two different things at the same time, where there's overlap in the usage. It's fine to have a keybind do different things depending on context, but it's only okay if the contexts never overlap. because there is overlap, because there is this situation where there is overlap, and it does come up, and it does happen in the vanilla game, completely unmodded, there should not be the same keybind for these two events of adding modules to a building and adding inventory into a building. They should absolutely be two separate things with two separate keybinds. However, this could be avoided if nanobots was changed as well, so that it uses the robot module function rather than the shift left click. So in vanilla, it absolutely can happen if you are trying to add, like, say, Mark 1 modules into a building that is building Mark 2 modules of that module type. So, yeah, it is most definitely a thing that can happen in vanilla when you are initially building your module factories, your initial module factories, when you are setting up Mark II speed module buildings. If you try to manually put modules, Mark I modules, in those Mark II module buildings, those buildings will eat your stack of modules into their inventory slots instead of going into the module slots. Anyway, we have Pulp 1 now. Hallelujah. Yay, Pulp 1. Next is Pulp 2. And this requires 32 pressured air, so I need to keep in mind, hey, pressured air is 2 of these. So yeah, I think that 2 things should happen. One is that nanobots should be using the robot event, because robots do not have any trouble whatsoever adding modules to buildings. I am not using Factorismo. No. I would have even worse performance if I was attempting to use that, and I have absolutely zero reason to. Like, there is no good reason outside of C-block games to ever use Factorismo. Like, there's no point. None. You're just adding scripts and adding the heck they're called, surfaces into the game that don't need to exist. And you're killing your performance because of that. Doesn't matter how much they try to improve the performance, it's still always fundamentally going to have a really major performance impact. Especially in mods like Pyandon's mods, where you already just fundamentally have performance issues. It just makes things so much worse. I have used it before, and I used it in a PyBlock series, where I was like, yep, we're not ever going to do this again. This is using up way too much performance. No, never, ever again. I did not actually complete that playthrough because of the performance problems and the fact that literally no one watched it. Like, literally no one cared. Have I seen the fork? Doesn't use any scripts on tick. Well, I would say that anything... I would say that if it's doing anything with power, trying to move power between surfaces, ever, it's going to have a very major performance penalty. No matter how they do it. It's gonna cause problems. when just by trying to move power between surfaces, you're going to have problems with performance, and there's no way around it. None. Which is why I will not use factory smell, like, ever again. And yeah, the buildings are tiny. Like, have you seen the size of an og paddock? Have you seen the size of that reproductive complex that I just placed? You could put, like, one of those in a single factory smell building. Like, we can put one of, where are you? Like, we could put one of these, if that, into a level 1 factory smell factory. Like, just one. It's, like, totally pointless with PyAE's mods, in particular when building size is what it is. Now, my argument is that there is an existent greater than 0 performance penalty for using factory smell for no good purpose to use factory smell. Like, there's no reason to use it, and using it is actively detrimental in a greater than 0 amount. So, no, not gonna touch it. Specifically because you would need hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of factory smell buildings if you were intending on using them in a Pi game. It adds up at the scale of a Pi game. Fly buzzing around me. Yes, that's it. Ray, that's exactly what Not Melon is talking about. And Not Melon is apparently the author of, the creator of. So, yeah, my point is that it doesn't really matter about how well it performs. It's just the scale of the thing for PyAE's in particular makes it just, it's never going to be good enough for Pi. Never going to be good enough for Pi. Anyway, we have our Pulp 2, and we have this concentrate. This concentrate we could use to make antimony oxide, but I'm dumping it. Goodbye oxide. We are here for the Pulp 2, and that is all we are here for. What next? What is next? We have antimony Pulp 2. What do I want to build as our next step? Well, what do we need? We need to get into the doped silicons. We need to get into the PCB2s and the phenolic boards for those PCB2s, which will require the backlight and require the fiber board and the fiber and phenol and the formaldehyde that we've already made. These items up here, these sets, transistors, inductors, diodes, microchips, MOSFETs, resistors, capacitors, these are all going to be the last things that I do. The very end, including the circuits, the PCB2s, but the PCB2s will come before all of these. PCB2s do not require doped silicon, but the other stuff does, so it would make more sense for me to work on the PCB2s first, I would think. Multi-planetary PyAEs. Don't give Pi ideas, although I think Pi already has these ideas in mind. Pi, for a time, Don't know if it's still being worked on, but Pi was absolutely working on a space surface for things like the yes, the Tholins. Pi was absolutely working on the ability to go to a space map and build a space area with factories that you place in that space area for, like, producing Tholins in space through a factory that you build in space. Don't know what's happened with that, but because that was a very long time ago when that was being shown. But yeah, just as a BTW, Pi has also made the art assets for various mark levels of rocket silo. Like, this is a thing that Pi has already made. It's different mark levels of rocket silo. They haven't been added to the game, and it's been 2 years? Something like that? More? I forget exactly when he showed pictures of them, but they are art assets that exist somewhere. Anyway, working on the thing is, what do I need the carbide? Who's eating carbide? You? MOSFETs? Okay. We will make the stuff for the circuit PCBs first. Alright, so the PCBs, those are going to need the fiber board. They need the fiber board and the phenol. So what is going to be first here? We need the phenol. We need the phenol for backlight. Phenol and then the fiber board. And that'll make the phenolic boards. And then I need to process nylon into nylon parts. And we can make our circuits. So let's work on the fiber board first for the backlight. Alright, this starts multi-step process. Starts with you and you. Do I already have that? No. Okay. So this is the other spot where we have our kickalk. That is down here. All the way down here. Hello. Split you off. Up you go. Yep. That's where the split happened. All the way up. You can sort of see now why I've put other areas up here for the train station. It's because this is going to outpace this growth. So it's fine that there will be a gap. I'm anticipating that there will be a space for a gap to then have straighter lines from up here. For now, though, we will live with this. How much? Okay, it's less than... Alright, this is logs. I will need to bring logs in. I will be producing not that much wood. I'm not doing this anymore, right? Just sanity check. I will need creosote. And that's that. So we're looking at logs plus creosote. Next. Pretty sure I don't have the creosote, but always gotta check. What do we got? Okay, we do need the creosote. And we need the logs, so creosote, logs. Yeah, so I would say don't expect anything regarding like space stuff anytime soon from Pyandon's mods. It may get spun off into the next major addition into the game. It may just be like a Pi space. Pi space. Yes, that may be the next thing. Or the thing after that, who knows. Pi does have a tendency to put, like, ideas up for vote for what should be next. Pretty sure that's how we got Alien Life and how we got this one. In the order that we did. There was supposed to be a Pi Aliens after PyAlien Life, but that hit a brick wall. Once Pi saw the work involved in actually trying to make something akin to biters on the map. Doing a couple is fine, but doing like every single creature that exists in PyAlien Life, no. They need like animations for every rotation on the map, and yeah, doing that as like 8 sets of multiple frames of animations for each creature that exists in PyAlien Life, yeah, that was not going to happen when it would take hundreds of hours per creature to actually make something that looks at the level of detail that Pyandon tends to make. Hundreds of hours per creature. So yeah, that was tossed. And I'm guessing that there were also probably some limitations to how to make them behave on the map. I would imagine that that part of it would have been that the creatures would have different behaviors on the map, but probably not exactly possible. There's stuff that is hard-coded with biters that you can't really change. Okay, let's get the creosote pipe. But we did get the caravans, the flyavans. We've got the digosaurs. We've got digosaurs. I mean, that's the same concept. They have to do the animations in the 8 directions that they could face. So it's not like they can't do it. They have done it. They're just not doing it for everything across the board, taking that time to like coming up with a way of spawning these things on the map. Like how? That's the whole idea with PyAliens, is that all the alien life would exist on the map, and you have to like either fight it or tame it or do stuff regarding that for getting your creatures, your initial creatures. But no, we got this. We got this. Oh yeah, by the way, if you hadn't noticed, I am in fact processing additional Nextlet now. I am processing more Nextlet. The storage is recovering after doing this. Yeah. They're all eating meat and meat only. That's the other change that I've made here. I got rid of the gut line, the gut lane on these. It's all meat. Meat gives them 2 ores per cycle, I guess it's per cycle, but yeah, they eat a unit of meat, they go out, they dig up, they give the 2 ores per unit of meat that they eat. So yeah, it's using more than a half a belt of meat to do this, but still, I've got that, I think. To get this ore, I would rather not be spending any of this for ore, but whatever. Is fine. Is fine, and they're little dinosaurs in hard hats. We like our little dinosaurs in hard hats. And great big eyes. So, stuffs. We has... We have to unstack our logs. There you go. That'll do. We has these. Boink, boink, boink. Next, we need... I need to point this out. I do have access to the... I think I have access to the better... Do I? There are better fiberboard recipes. I apparently don't have them unlocked. Even though I totally have sodium sulfate unlocked, by the way. Even though we totally have sodium sulfate, fiberboard 2 is a chemical science recipe. Okay. Sure. And sodium hydroxide. Alright, that should do it. Give me that. And give me steam. Where is my pipe for steam? Do I even have a steam production area? I don't think I have a steam production yet, so that's cool. Hi, steam. There you go. Steam. Just add some good old sodium hydroxide, which I am not bringing in at the moment. Yep, not bringing it in, so that is our next input ingredient. Request NaOH at C2. Sodium hydroxide, come on down. I think it's stacked. Pretty sure it's stacked. It better be stacked from my factory making 75 units of the stuff per second. Alright, come on down. That is the fiber board. I will need the bakelite, which needs phenol, and I need zinc chloride, which is not yet getting made. Okay, so we're looking at phenol and zinc chloride. I'm already making the formaldehyde, and I already have the biomass. So it's phenol plus zinc chloride. So for the phenol, we're doing lignin. So I will need to split my stuffs. Also need to provide steam. Oh boy. I'm going to split this like here, go up, combine with the other thing. And that'll be that. We need to bring in cellulose. Don't think I have cellulose brought in yet. Come on down, cellulose. I do not believe cellulose is stacked. Alright, fun times. I need to do this. Pull this up. Someone outside is using a chainsaw. Sigh. A little sigh. I can hear a chainsaw going. Someone's having some tree work done. Yet another tree going away, I guess. Hey, Ollie. You wanna look outside? Yes, he wants to go to the window. The other critter is around. That's really close. And I'm buffering. Okay, we're not buffering. That's really close. Oh, we've got bitrate issues. We got bitrate issues. We've got bitrate issues. I do hope that they didn't just mess up the internet from their work out there. I do hope they didn't just drop a tree branch on a wire. Oh no, we're still having some bitrate issues here. We're at like half, less than half, but we on our bitrate. It's not showing any dropped frames, but the bitrate sure is awful. And I don't know why. Huh. That's super weird. That should not be happening. And yet, here we are. Come on. I know you can recover. You can do it. Cool. Upload is currently 317 kbps.